Je remercie le représentant du...
I thank the representative of the United Kingdom for a statement, and I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation. Thank you, Mr. President. We learned with great sadness the terrible events that led to the assassination of the president of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse. We'd like to express our sincere condolences to the government, the people, and the family of the president who was killed. Mr. President, we're grateful to the Special Representative of Secretary General and Head of MONUSCO, Bintou Keita, for her informative briefing. We also listened to Rita Kibamba's statement carefully. Russia is carefully monitoring the situation in the DRC, where, due to the constant attacks by armed groups in the eastern provinces, a state of siege was imposed. In spite of the efforts of the government and MONUSCO, illegal armed groups continue to maintain significant military capacity. The main threat is represented by the Allied Democratic Forces. We're very concerned about the increase in the number of victims among the civilian population killed by the guerrillas. That number, according to the UN, just for the period from March to June, has exceeded 500 people. It is very disconcerting that the Congolese authorities have so far not been able to resolve the problem of the illegal exploitation and export of natural resources from the DRC, which are used by illegal allied groups to finance their activity. At the same time, we note that thanks to the efforts of the government and UNESCO and MONUSCO, the situation in the Tanganyika province is gradually stabilizing. Now, we are also very concerned about the humanitarian situation. It's a source of consternation for us. The situation has become more acute in connection with the coronavirus pandemic and the incipient economic downturn in the country. The situation was further worsened by the eruption of the volcano Nyiragongo in northern Kivu. As a result of that eruption, over 30 people died and over 20,000 were left homeless. Thousands were forced to flee to neighboring regions. We'd like to particularly commend the rapid reaction of the government of the DRC. Thanks to that reaction, most people were able to return to their homes. We also note the role of peacekeepers of MONUSCO, including Russian contracted pilots who provided assistance to refugees and the victims. We expect that the government will manage to restore control of the security situation and will focus its efforts on improving the humanitarian situation and will contribute to a sustainable socioeconomic development, resolving border disputes with its neighbors, intercommunal conflicts, implementing the strategy of disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration of former combatants. In this connection, we take note of the approved program of action by the government for the period 2021-2023. At the same time, it's important to continue work on implementing the basic framework agreement on peace, security, and cooperation in the eastern provinces of the DRC and the Great Lakes region. One of the key pillars of that agreement is expanding security cooperation among countries of the region. We also hope that the UN strategy adopted to strengthen peace and preventing and resolving conflicts in the Great Lakes region will contribute to normalizing the situation in the region. We welcome the the peacekeeping role of leaders of the states of the region, of the SADC and the ICGLR. And we believe it's very important for regional players to continue their efforts to establish an atmosphere of cooperation in this part of the continent. In this connection, we welcome the peace initiatives by the states of the region, and in particular the readiness of President Felix Tshisekedi as President of the African Union to offer his good offices in resolving disputes on the continent. We also welcome his meetings with the presidents of Uganda and Rwanda. During those meetings, issues of establishing bilateral economic cooperation were discussed, and joint measures against illegal armed groups. Russia, including as participant of the group of friends of the Great Lakes region, intends to continue to actively contribute to the peace process in the DRC and the region as a whole. Mr. President, in conclusion, we'd like to express our support for the efforts of MONUSCO in stabilizing the situation in the country. We were dismayed to learn about reports of protests against the presence of MONUSCO that took place at the beginning of April of this year in northern Kivu, as well as attacks by the local population against the mission. We believe that such actions threaten to derail its activity. Thank you very much.
Je remercie
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for his statement, and I now give the floor to Ireland.